done to Oakland Crescent Roadway in the constituency. Dr. Burke suggested that the politicization of the government's Spark program was to blame for the lack of work on the road. This in the wake of a video posted on social media showing motorists having to use the sidewalk to navigate Oakland Crescent. But speaking on Nationwide at 5 last Friday, Minister Morgan says Dr. Burke is misguided.
You have a situation like this where they have always controlled the parish council, and this is a parish council road. They have always controlled the constituency, and they have been found wanting by residents in this area. You cannot blame Spark for this because Spark does not begin yet. We're still in the procurement process. PIMSEC and PIMC PIAB have just approved Spark. How can you blame Spark when Spark has not started it?
Minister Morgan says the road is the responsibility of the PNP-led KSAMC.
And the fact of the matter is, parish council roads are controlled by the parish council. The current leadership of the parish council in Kingston and St. Andrews is the People's National Party. So you cannot blame central government for this. And it's a bit sad that the member would choose to try and undermine what has been a very transparent and accountable Spark process because she has come under pressure because of what has been clear neglect of a very important road for the residents in Painland.
Robert Morgan, Minister with responsibility.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. If you could, MP, to give us an overview on what happened on the weekend and what's the situation this morning with the residents who were affected.
Well, thanks for having me on, and good morning to your listeners as well. I started getting videos that there was a crack in the road, and I said, well, how far is it from, the banking side where, we know that there's a lot of precipice in West Rural, especially in the Brandon Hill and the Lawrence Tavern area. And I said, well, if the crack is in the road, maybe it's not going to be anything that's serious. And we know that it's been raining consistently. So even when Kingston is not getting rain, it has been raining consistently in West Rural for the last, I would say, 6 weeks. And then Sunday morning, I got another video that the road broke away. So I had to make my way up there just to see the severity of it. And it's devastating because one side of, part of Mount McGlashan, those residents, they're totally cut off. They have to take an alternate. And, we are very resilient people. So the persons in the community, they made a makeshift walkway into the hills, back down, so that persons can literally walk to the other side. So they are totally cut off, and NAA, I know, will be going there with the engineers to make an assessment sometime today.
So is it that there is, I heard you speaking about alternate, is there an alternative route that they can take, and how far away is that from the major towns or their place of work or school that they have to access?
Well, let me say, about 10 or 12 years ago, there was another breakaway only meters away that cut off the resident from another section into the Brandon Hill, closer to Tom's Riverside. So the member of parliament at that time was Mr. Gallimore, who made a makeshift roadway or pathway in that area through the forestry, but it's not necessarily a road, so to speak, but it is a longer route for residents to really get into. If they're going to Golden Spring, it's a much longer route, and so I wouldn't really say that there's an alternate route for these residents, because I don't think, when I spoke with them yesterday, they are not really willing to go that far, because it's going to, number one, cost them more money to take that longer route if they're trying to get into Kingston or anywhere else. And so I am now awaiting for NAA to actually visit the area to really take a look to see, because let me tell you, it I'm not sure what the possibilities are going to be because of the type of soil that is in the area and the depth of this slippage, land slippage. It is really, really deep, and in order to build a wall, to put a basket, a Gabion basket, they're going to possibly have to find a solid ground in order to do this. And again, as I said, the depth of it's really very, a long way down. And so I'm awaiting them to have a look to see what the possibilities could be. In the meantime, however, the residents, as I said, they made a makeshift walkway. Children have to go to school. There's a school not far from where the breakaway is. And so there was already a pathway in that area. And so what will happen, I will be, they asked me if I could, provide some marl or something. And so that is something that we've decided upon, that we will provide some marl to the area with cement so that they could make a proper walkway, because it's very muddy, it's very slippery. I had to put on my water boot yesterday, and in order for persons to traverse, because and also let me just say, in that area we have a lot of elderly persons, who would want to traverse the area, and we have to make it more comfortable for them.
So as of now, MP, no vehicles can go in and out of that area.
Oh no, it's not drivable. There's nowhere for any vehicle to drive. It's not drivable at all. Persons leaving that area, they will have to walk. Now, remember, it is also a farming community, and so. And even if this is not a farming community, persons, if you have grocery, it is going to be very difficult to take your grocery from one side. And if it is you're a farmer, you have bags of feed in, it's going to be very difficult also to be able to transport your feed or grocery from one side to the next, because the vehicle will have to stop on that side. You would have to then take it over the hillside and then back to your house. And it's going to be a distance. It's not that everybody lives in one section. You're going to have a distance to walk your grocery or whatever it is that you have, your load, back to your house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the video. Yeah, I was looking at the videos that came into our news group's WhatsApp yesterday. It's a significant landslide, and I was seeing some residents on one side shouting to their community friends on the other side, and then a major crack in the middle. So the pathway that they're making now, you said it's very muddy, that they need marl and all of that to create that pathway. How soon is that going to be done?
Well, definitely today. We're trying to get that done. Again, we're watching the rain, but I told them today or tomorrow that will happen. And they said, look, MP, we will do the work. You just drop the marl and we will do the rest. And so, again, they're very resilient. They were upbeat. They recognize that it's been raining for the last 6 weeks consistently. And so they understand Mother Nature. So we have to work with these residents because, again, once I got there yesterday, a gentleman, he came from me, held my hand, walked me through the mud to take me on to the other side. And so, again, as I said, though, I'm a little bit concerned or very concerned about the elderly and the school children. I'm sure they possibly wouldn't be going because of what, the weather and the impending storm that we're supposed to get. Most of those children possibly won't go to school today. So we have to make sure, I have to make sure that it is safer for them to traverse the area once the storm passes, and that is what we're going to be doing, trying to make sure that that is done today.
Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, the Member of Parliament for West Rural.
A lady.
Morning to you, Stephen.
You want to search for the name, yeah. Morning. Stephen Shaw, what's what's your work plan where Mount Prospect is concerned?
The first thing that will have to be done is our most senior engineers will have to visit the location and look at what is on ground and then come up with a plan. From what I'm seeing in terms of the pictures and videos, it's not a standard design that is going to be needed for that particular location. There will have to be a special engineering effort focusing on this particular location as it relates to getting a particular fix there. If it can be fixed, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, George, it would make better sense.
Yes.
To maybe, find another route.
Yes.
Around the area. It might be cheaper so to do. So those are some of the things that we will have to look at. We'll have to do an assessment of what is on ground, find out what is the most suitable solution, and then we make a decision.
Perhaps Stephen, the first question to you should have been, based on the eye test, what you have seen in the pictures and in the videos, based on that eye test, have you been able to, has the NWA repaired things like these before?
I would say yes and no. We have done. I recall some years ago when we had a massive earth movement in St. Elizabeth in a place called Pisgah, just below the school there.
Yeah.
And we had it reinstated. It took up quite a bit of work, but it was done.
Yeah.
And that road is still standing. I recall us doing work in St. James in a place called Tangle River, where we had major movements again, and we were able to repair that. So it is not beyond us. What is going to be crucial is having regard to the design that is going to be generated from what is on ground and the amount of money that it is likely to cost for us to do the repair. Of course, we cannot speak about money until we know what the design is, because it is the design that we will have to cost.
One of the things we expect the people like yourself to know every detail about every community road, which of course is impossible. But the MP just spoke to us about an alternative that the former MP of a couple cycles past, Andrew Gallimore, would have cut. We interpret what she said as a little track for the residents to get in and out of the community. It's a long road, she says, and it's not really a road. So I'm thinking of the interim, what the NWA can do for residents listening this morning who are saying, well, for the time it will take them to assess and determine what to do, if anything, with the collapsed roadway, what's the alternative for getting in and out of the community? Do you have a handle on what that approach will be yet?
Not yet, but clearly we will engage the key stakeholders. The Member of Parliament, Juliet Cuthbert, is a key stakeholder. She, when I spoke yesterday, I have been in touch with my technical colleagues. As I said, it will require a visit by our most technical team. Usually what happens, George, is that the parish persons will go and they will file a report, and because the technical team focuses on everywhere.
then we have to program the particular location. The decisions that are to be taken in terms of how we get persons into and out of the area as soon as possible. That is something that will require us elevating the discussion because it requires money, and where we get that money from. It now goes to policy, and so the minister in charge of work and the permanent secretary at that level, those discussions will have to be had.
And just before we let you go, Stephen Shaw, you have the ear of the listeners this morning. Are there any other roads across the country that are impassable at this hour that our listeners should know about? I did see some reports about border to Coffee Gully in St. Mary.
Gully. Yes, we did have blockage on that particular road yesterday, but it has been reopened. But, you know, Georgetown, and with the weather being what it is, and it is expected that it is going to become even worse over the next few hours. I want to advise persons to exercise great caution in using roads in sections of Portland, sections of St. Andrew, St. Mary, St. Anne, where we have had a lot of rain over the last several days. And when you add that, which we're expecting over the next 24 to 36 hours, it is likely that we are going to be having more challenges in the form of breakaways and landslides in some of these areas.
Yeah.
And lastly, just as you go, Stephen, for the people in Mount Prospect listening to us, when should they expect to see your engineers, your other team members in the area doing that assessment?
But I'm sure that the team will be visiting the area subject to the weather conditions, because it has started to deteriorate already outside. And so we did have a plan to visit the location today to make our own quick assessment, and then, you know, be in a position to say to our bosses what the situation is on ground and how we can possibly look to get persons into and out of that space.
Hear you on that. Thank you this morning, Stephen. All the best.
Thank you.
Manager of Communication.
Clear Junction Road block. Right now, border, if we go at border and go Burnham Hill Road. Clear road. Boss, have you chop it out, you know, but still have to go bust up some stone.
Yes, me quiet. Don't I'm going to Panaya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is easier for people.
Yeah, this is easier for people.
Me can't be the way me can't be take this that.
My friend, pause the camera. Have you take the bar away?
Yes, I can walk, you know. Yes, I can walk.
Oi! May I say you going to give the MP?
Watch the ride. Watch the ride. Watch the bumper go come off on that one. The bumper go come off on that one. Watch ya now. You. What I go shoot me in that one. That one reverse pass. Him not reverse pass. Him better do it. Yeah. What there? Look, it's the road banking now and they go there, sir. Better in stock. Watch that. Yo!